Dinner in Hell Band! Ladies and gentlemen, can you believe the dulcet tones of this incredible group of musicians?
Force to be reckoned with.
Incredible.
As far as podcast fans are concerned.
Welcome back for another exciting edition of the Dinner in Hell podcast, the show where two amateur historians talk about the atrocious underbelly of history. I am one of your co-hosts, Brad the Impaler, and with me, as always, the podcasting machine known as Ron Maiden.
Oh, podcasting machine. Frickin' so many podcasts I've been frickin' a part of. Frickin'. Did I say frickin' yet? Is that too many frickins? Is it over quota?
I'm not trying to be the frickin' police. I ain't counting your frickins.
This is what we're trying to do is we're working on doing some type of drinking game because our listeners always comment on how many times I say frickin'. So every time I say frickin', you do a shot of old granddad. So
every time,
pause it.
Every time I say frickin', you do a speedball, Belushi style.
That's if you got the budget. So what are we doing here? We're going to be talking about an American woman. Isn't a story about an American woman?
Yes, she was an American girl.
Yeah, she was living in a great big world, America.
Oh yeah,
Massachusetts area. Or was she born in the Massachusetts area, or did she move to the Massachusetts area for work?
She was always in there. Always born and bred New Englander.
Oh, she was she was a murderer.
Yep, she murdered dozens of people. Who exactly is this New England murderess that we are going to be discussing tonight, Ron?
We're going to be talking about registered nurse Jane Toppan.
Boom.
Was she the angel of... She was not the angel of death, was she?
No, she was a very different type of serial killer than an angel of death. She was what we would refer to as an organized lust murderer.
Hell yeah.
Which is very, frankly, bizarre for a woman. That's not generally their motivation when they commit a series of murders.
Probably my most preferred type of murder. Lust-filled. If lust-filled is your favorite murder, tweet at us at hashtag lust-filled murders. What do you mean by that?
I mean, like an example of an organized killer would be like Dennis Rader.
BTK?
Correct. Somebody who's, plans, they cover their asses, like they don't draw attention to themselves. A disorganized killer would be someone like, say, Richard Ramirez.
The guy that just popped people in the cars as they made out.
No, he was.
Son of Sam?
I would say he was probably disorganized too, because there was no real planning. It was like a random person.
Yeah, right? Son of Sam, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say he's disorganized, but probably a better example would be like the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. Like he was out of control. Or like Ted Bundy after he broke out of prison. Like, because he started off organized, right? Like, he had, like, the fake cast. He would trick women with, like, his charm and good looks. Like, can you help me get this in the car?
Can you help me here? I'm a little handicapped.
Well, that's okay.
I want to get all the way in the back of the van.
Mm-hmm.
What? You about a size 14? Excuse me?
Boom. Yeah, that was his original move. But if you're talking about after he, like, escaped from prison and went down to, like, Florida... Like, I think he was basically, like, raving, screaming wild animal. Like, he wasn't in control of anything. He beat one woman to death with a tree branch.
Jesus.
Like, just in, like, a fit of, like, crazy... He was just rampaging. He was completely out of control. That would be, like a disorganized killer.
So, Mrs. Toppan...
Yes.
So you're saying...
Yeah.
Every murder that she admitted to or she's charged with was premeditated, freaking perfectly planned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about perfectly planned. I've seen the notes.
Yeah, not perfectly. She gets a little cocky, I'll say.
Yeah.
Now, the other part of that equation is that she is a lust murderer, which is rare for women. It's very common for men. Like, I mean, you can talk about any of them. Like Jeffrey Dahmer is a pretty good example of a lust murderer.
I have to say something real quick about Dahmer. An observation that came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Dahmer's sense of smell was quite that great. Because if you think about it, in the beginning of his life, he was collecting roadkill and garbage bags and like taking them home. And like, can you imagine how awful that garbage bag full of dead animals or one dead animal when it's like decomposing maggots? Like, if you're smelled like rotten animal, it's like awful.
Yeah, but you can kind of get used to anything.
Okay, and then later on, when he has the apartment with like the decomposing human bodies and body parts, the smell, everyone's complaining. He's like, "What? I was just baking a roast."
Dude, think about it. You ever seen hoarders?
Yeah.
There'll be like a woman living in a house with like 8,000 bags of shit piled up in the bathroom, and she's like, "No, it's fine." All this like this 3-inch layer of ooze that's like rotted away in my fridge drawer. All I got to do is heat this up in the microwave and it's fine. I don't know why everyone's kicking up such a fuss. If those people can get used to that shit, I have no problem believing Dahmer could live with like a bucket and 9 dicks and 4 torsos in his closet.
He was working on a freaking penis altar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he sure was.
But she was not born with the name Jane Toppan.
No,
right?
She certainly was not. Like, all of these episodes that we do on these serial murderers, these terrible people, we got to go back to the beginning.
Should we just go say it? Let's go back in time.
Now, not very many records exist of Toppan as a young girl, but we do know a few things. We know her name when she was born was Honora Kelly or Honora Kelly. I'm not sure. I don't know if you say the H or not. I'm going to say Honora.
Say it with like an Irish accent. Like
Honora Kelly.
Honora.
Honora. Or like Honora. Honora. I'm going to go with the hard H on it, I think.
Do it up.
She was born Honora Kelly, August 17th, 1854, in Boston, Mass., to Irish immigrant parents Peter and Bridget Kelly. Now, unfortunately, almost immediately, not quite immediately, when she was a toddler, her mom caught the tuberculosis and died. So she was out of the picture basically before little Honora was forming memories at all.
That's odd that another serial killer we're covering had an issue with the mother either being lost or being awful. And
the issues do not stop there. Her surviving parent, Peter, her father, was extremely alcoholic, not doing the Irish any favors with that. He was incredibly abusive. And he was frankly suffering from some severe mental illness.
What was his job?
He was a tailor.
Yeah.
And one of the things that eventually got him locked up in a mental asylum was that he once took his needle and thread and sewed his own eyes together.
Like as a prank?
Shut.
Like just as a gag?
I don't know. I have no insight into anyone's possible motivations for that action. None.
He's like, we still doing that see no evil, hear no evil picture? Come on, guys. Get in here. Got the eyes done.
Yeah,
done the eyes.
We all definitely did it. Pete.
Yeah. Yeah, I put my hands over my ears. Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna sew them shut. We didn't want to go that far.
He's scotch taping some thread real quick to try to make it look. The one guy's just like,
no, yeah, I just glued my lips with rubber cement. No, I thought that was good.
Well, they never called him Pete, though. He did have another nickname, though. They called him Kelly the Crack, as in crackpot.
I thought he was the guy that like invented crack. He's like, Kelly the Crack. Oh, you're gonna love it.
You take some cocaine, mix it with some baking soda, a little water.
Like a warm bath. We're just heavy on the drugs last few episodes.
Oh,
we're talking about acid. We're talking on the last episode, I said I did cocaine and
but I think
acid or something.
For some reason said cocaine.
Cocaine, yeah. I was probably doing some type of character voice we're working on in improv classes.
Yeah, so he's got some problems, clearly. If you got a nickname about it and you've heard one taste of his brand of nonsense. So he decides he's done taking care of the kids when they're pretty young. He dropped off 6-year-old Honora and her 8-year-old sister Delia at the Boston Female Asylum.
Oh, that sounds like a wonderful place.
Doesn't it? It sounds just like a hellish pit, just like Albert Fish wound up in, just like Charles Manson, no name, ran into, where brutal shit happens, right?
What if I told you this? When he got there with the girls, the whole time he was saying they were just going to go there for a tour. And then he said, I'll be right back. I go over into the car. I'll be right back. Love you. Just in case I don't, I love you. I'm a little crazy, but I'm still dad. What was that? Close Encounters?
Yeah.
When he's like doing the Devil's Tower with his mashed potatoes, he's like, probably noticed dad's a little weird, but I'm still dad. Like, I'm not totally out of my mind.
Yeah.
Jane Toppan's dad, Kelly the Crack.
Yeah, he seemed like he might be a little bit worse off than what's his name? I can't remember the character's name.
Richard Dreyfuss.
I remember Dreyfuss. I can't remember the character's name.
Oh, I wouldn't expect you to.
Oh, it's a great film.
It's an amazing movie. I love it.
Yeah,
that one always stays on if it's on. I gotta find it, leave it on.
Oh yeah. So the Boston Female Asylum, though.
Yeah.
No, not horrible. By all accounts, very respectable organization.
Hey, like I said.
Yeah, their goal was to raise girls up until they were about 10 years old and get them into good families.
Honora's sister was 10.
She was 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, I looked because it does sound like a horrible name. I couldn't find any controversy about the Boston Female Asylum whatsoever.
You're looking for blood?
Yes. Yeah, it absolutely was. Because we're trying to find an explanation for what the deal is. You'll hear what goes on later. Maybe this will make a little bit more sense. Yeah, nothing. And as a matter of fact, that very same organization continues to exist to this very day.
Got a problem with your kid? Bring them on down. They're going to love it. We got pizza every Friday. Friggin' indoor pool. Name it.
Well, they still provide a wide variety of child and family services for the good people of Massachusetts under the name The Home for Little Wanderers, which is adorable and depressing at the same time.
Little Wanderers.
Orphans.
This is America we're talking about. How could there be wanderers in America's greatest country as this?
Well, you see, Ron, there's no way to monetize them because of our archaic and unnecessary child labor laws.
Well, CIA could at least like use them for experiments, right? I mean, they could.
Yeah, remember
they have.
Refer to our MK Ultra episode.
I don't think they didn't.
Well, internal records of the Boston Female Asylum claim that the girls were, quote unquote, rescued from a very miserable home. Which, I mean, if she didn't get fucked up at the orphanage, I doubt Kelly the Crack was a super, consistent, steady presence in little Honora's life.
One of the weird things is like her friends would come over and be like, "Why are your curtains sewn together shut?" My dad, he's got a thing for sewing shit shut.
He just never stops sewing. It's unreal.
He sews stuff shut. That's his thing. He sews his eyes shut. He sews the curtains shut. What do you want from me?
He's a sewing fool.
He's so crazy.
Oh, good one.
He's the Kelly the Crack. I'm Kelly the Crack's kid. Hey, you Kelly the Crack's kid?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I hope you turn out to be completely normal, honey.
You sew anything together lately?
Hey, your pop's still sewing shit together. Hooray. Do we sound like Boston or what?
I think that was maybe like Staten Island.
Boston's like,
into.
Boston people, all our Boston listeners just turned it off. They're like, fuck this.
I really can't do a good Boston. I can only say...
Park your car in the Boston yard, the Harvard yard.
I can only do like Harvard Yard,
has some garlic.
Boston,
Speaking of garlic. Speaking of garlic.
Oh, yeah, Ron.
We enjoyed,
Ron brought in some garlic tahini with some pita bread today, and I got to tell you, as someone who I will admit,
Is that what it's called? Did you look it up?
no, I am repeating things that I've been told, even though I don't know for sure.
It's the garlic dip at like Middle Eastern places. It's garlic and oil whipped. Brad had it today.
Oh, it crushes.
With pita.
It's fucking so good.
We warmed it up, but studio's a little bit. We keep the studio cool, so the pita was a little bit right. It wasn't like hot. Yeah.
I mean, if we had an oven right here, it would have been better, but that's about the only way.
Next season. But if you go to the restaurant, when you sit at the table, they bring you like a hot, freshly baked, like right there in a flame oven. Oh, you guys know what I'm talking about. You got that one good restaurant you drive far to.
So good.
Here in our area, we have tons of Middle Eastern restaurants. They're freaking amazing. Some are shit, though. If you would like to have your restaurant named on our show, we have a big Michigan listener base.
Also, if you would like our restaurant to not be named on your show specifically, we have a big Michigan listener base.
Oh, yeah. I could say a couple names.
Do you not want to be listed on this program?
So
because of what you would be associated with?
So this whole garlic talk came from our Boston accent workshop we just tried doing.
Yep. Now, I was saying there's not that much abuse seemed like at the orphanage, but there must have been a ton of shit before that because there's 3 Kelly's sisters, and all 3 of them had a real rough time of it.
No mother there when they were young. That's important on the Dinner in Hell program.
Yeah, I mean, remember her sister Delia?
Yeah.
Well, she wound up destitute and working as a sex worker, which is fine when it's a choice, but depressing and bad when it's forced on people. And I think, judging from what I was reading, that's the latter.
That was her only skill.
Yeah, that's all she was getting by with. So she had a rough road. You'll hear what happened to Honora down the line. The rest of the show's about her. But she also had an older sister.
Hey, can you tell me what era this is? I'm not sure if I caught the year. Was it 1889 or something?
She was born in 1854, so we're talking about like 1862-ish right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, she had an older sister, and this name was cruel of the Kellys to put on her. Her name was Nellie Kelly. Nellie Kelly.
Come on.
Yeah, for fuck's sake, Pete.
She was named after the rapper, St. Louis rapper?
Oh, no, this actually predates St. Louis rapper Nellie's career by quite some time.
Little Dinner in Hell fun fact, that's where Nelly got his Band-Aid on the cheek from, is from Nellie Kelly. She did it first.
There's a connection to the medical field, a nod to his favorite murderess of the late 19th century.
Yep.
Makes perfect sense.
Nelly's a big history guy.
Well, at the age of 8, Honora was sent from the Boston Female Asylum to the home of Mrs. Ann C. Toppan of Lowell, Massachusetts. Now, just in case you're thinking she was adopted and she's catching another great break, you'd be wrong. By all accounts, this was not an abusive environment, but by all accounts, this was absolutely not equal with Mrs. Toppan's daughter, Elizabeth. Like, there was clearly, like, a tier list, and Elizabeth was treated much better than Honora was. So she was technically an indentured servant. So imagine your 8-year-old girl.
Like Cinderella?
Yeah, exactly like Cinderella. That's exactly what I was imagining. Floor. Yeah.
Get on your hands and knees and scrub. It's better.
Yeah, but like she still would, go to school and shit every day. She wasn't like a slave.
You got to feed the animals.
Yeah,
clean up the animals.
She did all the chores around the house by herself, probably.
And you got to help get your sisters ready for the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Got to help Jane or Nellie, Honora.
There is a little bit of aspect of that pops up later on.
I read the book. Jane Toppan book. You sent me.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Toppan on the NBA. Her thoughts on the Professional Basketball League.
The Life of Toppan.
Yeah.
Every time we do an episode, I always read at least a 400-page book about the topic.
Of course. That's absolutely true.
Keeps the brain going.
Well, it may have been Cinderella-esque. It may have been horrible. It may have been better. There's no way of saying exactly, but we do know that it does seem like Honora wanted to be part of the family because she started using the last name Toppan and eventually completely erasing her old identity by taking the first name Jane. But she was never adopted. But she did change her name to Jane Toppan.
Still 100% Irish.
Yeah. Although she did, in a further attempt to, I think, erase her previous identity, would trash Irish people like you wouldn't believe to anyone who would listen. And she would lie constantly, saying she wasn't Irish at all. She lied a lot, but she was smart, and she learned how to fool, I would say, like half of the people she was around with her friendliness. Her extremely fake friendliness.
Oh, Paul. I just adore your books. It would just be an honor if you would let me read your misery book, the one that was in your case.
Dadgummit.
Sure, Annie. Yeah. How could you? So much cursing. That was a scene from Misery, you guys. That's what I'm thinking is
dropping
Jane
a little
Toppan.
Annie Wilkes.
It's like Annie Wilkes from Misery. She's like super nice, like what? And then like midnight lightning strikes. She's like, here's your medicine.
Yes, and
She's got a gun.
If I'm being frank, so you can picture this in your mind too, eventually similar build.
Right?
Yeah.
You've seen pictures? That's what I thought too.
Yeah. So there's probably a lot of imagine like a Annie Wilkes type.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Now, Elizabeth, the pseudo sister, the not really sister, but the girl she grew up with, treated her just fine. Everybody agrees that Elizabeth was friendly and they got along for the most part. Okay, but I mean, things go a little icy later on. And she did stay with the Toppans not only after her contract ended, but long after she was an adult. She was still with them at 30.
Saves on rent, saves on the overhead there.
Yeah.
Save up a little bit of coin so she can one day get her own place.
Mm-hmm. Now, she seemingly getting her life into, gear, enrolls to train in nursing. It's happening. She is training to be a nurse at Cambridge Hospital, where she earned the nickname Jolly Jane for that friendly disposition we were talking about just a second ago.
God, you're the jolliest, Jane. Thanks.
Jolly has certain connotations, considering I've only ever used the word to describe Santa Claus.
You're as jolly as Santa. Oh, thanks. What do you mean by that? Nothing. You're nice.
Bum.
Hi. What, Cherry from Pee-wee's Playhouse? Pull yourself a chair. There's Cherry. That bass line you just hummed could be Pee-wee's Playhouse. Just
He's
saying.
jolly.
Dun, 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 dun. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Come on in. Hashtag Pee-wee Herman's Playhouse nostalgia.
That was a fine program.
Awesome. Yeah. The movie was great.
Mm-hmm.
Big adventure.
She did have a lot of friends at Cambridge Hospital.
Love
where
it.
she was training. She had a bunch of friends. Everybody dug her.
Yeah.
Some people were like, this bitch. But most of them thought she was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, early on, it became clear that she would choose her favorite patients very carefully, and they were always the most elderly or the sickest. She would spend all kinds of time with them. People would be like, well, she's so dedicated. She won't leave these people's sides. She's in here all hours of the night. You wouldn't believe it. She takes such good care of these people.
Oh yeah, they're even considering putting some stuff in their will to leave to her. It's crazy. That's what I think.
Yeah,
like you get everything because my family never visits me.
Oh no, it was only from the outside that it appeared that she was being nice to these people.
Oh,
She couldn't resist the amount of power that being a nurse gave her, and the access to control over people, because she started basically as soon as she had access to people, treating them like their own personal guinea pig.
She's like, I can't wait, sponge bath part. I've been dying to do a sponge bath. Got y'all to myself.
Yeah, not really. What she fucking... Maybe some aspects of that scenario, but...
Keep it clean. You never know what age person is listening to this show. I know you're dying to get graphic, detailed.
I won't. I think I've done this very respectably.
I know when we're off air, that's all you seem to talk about is perverted sex shit.
I'm not going to say
that's your style.
I'm not going to say any of the C words.
Oh my God. My son was playing a video game online on the headset with some kid, and he yells at me and he's like, Dad, so-and-so said the C word. And I'm like, freaking C-O or C-U? And he's like, he said chicken. I'm like, what? And he's like, what one's C-U? I'm like,
never mind.
Cut.
Go watch Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I'll ask you later.
Jane Toppan.
Yeah, the main method by which she experimented on these poor folks was with alternating doses and, to one degree or another, overdoses of both morphine and atropine. Morphine depresses the central nervous system. It slows down your breathing. That's why you shouldn't do those speedballs that I mentioned earlier. You're never going to do it because I'm not going to say that F word on this program, I don't think, ever. But yeah, so morphine.
What F word?
I'm not going to say it. You can't trick me that easily.
I'm lost. I don't know what you're referring to.
You'll hear it when you listen to it later. Okay. You said today we were going to have a drinking game. Every time you said a certain word that began with the letter F, they were going to have to take a shot.
Yeah.
I said every time I say that word, they have to do a speedball.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm saying this opiate could be used as part of a speedball.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, oh my God, because I did a speedball earlier. So
yeah,
I'm a little frazzled.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so morphine, like its opiate counterpart, heroin, would depress the central nervous system, affect the breathing. I mean, if you die from a heroin overdose or a morphine, any opiate overdose, it's basically because if you have too much in your system, you'll just stop breathing. You'll just be like, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then you die. That's generally how that shit happens. So she would use this to kill people, or just completely she would see the limit of exactly how far you could push somebody before they'd stop breathing. And then she'd use the atropine, which has the opposite effect. And it'll jumpstart your heart, get it beating.
Adrenaline?
Yeah, get you up. Not too up. Not up enough to do anything about it, but back to life.
Functioning blood flow.
Yes.
Brain activity.
Like body, doing stuff. You're awake. You're not part of the void anymore. You're back.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and she would do this back and forth. And back and forth.
Oh, the
Over
wear and tear. Is she logging all these doses, or is she like logging it in her like purse?
She would make up reasons for some of them, and sometimes she would try to hoard the medicine so she could just use it however she wanted. But she would fake stuff on the chart. She would be like,
30 milligrams.
"Oh, complained of pain, so I gave 8 billion milligrams of morphine."
Seemed to do the trick.
Yeah,
slept like a baby.
Mm-hmm. Because even
like
then, they were paying
alive.
attention to who was getting opiates and shit.
Slept like a partially alive baby. That's the show, man. That's where it took me.
Yeah,
the show when we first started doing this show, I was grossed out and appalled by all the shit we talked about. Now, like I said, we're coming up with grosser, darker ways. To improve? Or not? What's the opposite of improve?
Decline?
Decimate? I don't know.
Decimate means to reduce by a factor of 10.
Okay. Ever been verbally decimated? Like in a rap battle?
I've never participated in a rap battle. No.
You should try it. It's great for a person that never done it before.
I'm sure my first time would go really well.
To the stage, Brad the Impaler. Hi, what's up? Yo. That's my Brad voice.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up? Brad the Impaler.
I don't hear the lisp in there. Well, as you know, with most of these serial killers, things tend to escalate over time, and that is certainly true with Miss Jane Toppan. Using this method over time, she eventually went from torturing people with this to murdering them, as you do. Okay. Now I want you to close your eyes.
Okay.
And listen to the sound of my voice. And I want you to imagine that you're very ill or elderly. You're lying in a hospital bed. There's the occasional beep, the fan coming on.
Yes. I get it. I'm laying in a bed.
Mm-hmm. Now your nurse...
My son's going to come visit me. My son, he's going to visit me, and he's going to take me home with him.
Yeah, keep dreaming, Ira. So it's the middle of the night, the witching hour, 3 a.m. The door cracks open, and in comes your nurse.
Oh, here comes that nurse with the happy needle.
Mm-hmm. You feel, you're shocked. You're awakened, but no, it's the nurse. It's okay. And she says, oh, don't worry. This is just your medicine, as she approaches your bedside.
I trust her. She's my nurse.
Mm-hmm.
She's the only person in my life. When my son never comes to visit, he's gonna.
He is always coming, isn't he? Well, as she continues to administer your medicine, pumping it into the IV, you start to notice that you can't quite seem to catch a deep breath anymore. Your chest is starting to feel heavier. You can feel your heart slowing down, your vision's tightening up. And at this point, the nurse climbs into bed with you. I doubt it.
When you die, you create an erection when you die.
Well, that is possible.
It's a dinner and hell fact.
It's also, I learned that from Clerks.
You can also pound nails with it, apparently. Okay, I took it a little far. That's the farthest I've took it on this program.
I wasn't even going to go that far, and you were shutting me down over this.
That joke's for all ages. They don't know what I'm talking about.
So, with your not being able to breathe, vision dimming, you can feel it all fading out, and you realize that she is touching you, and touching herself, and just really having a fantastic time.
Sweet Caroline.
Ba, ba, ba. That's what her head's doing while you choking out.
She's singing it to herself as she's touching you, touching me.
Yeah, more or less.
It's your fault I sang that.
Either way, she's
the way you said that
real cozy.
That. Yeah. Mm. She cuddles up with these people, man or woman.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man or a woman, you guys. Use your imagination.
So at that point, that's when it all goes black for you. Lights out. You're a part of the void now. It's over. Then boom, like a shot. Your heart's beating and you're breathing again. Your vision returns to you and you're awake. Sounds cool and good, right?
You're alive and I'm pregnant. What? Wait.
Oh yeah, because she'd be
what?
She'd be on top of you now.
Morning, sunshine.
And she's
jolly. Hey, look at you. Who decided to wake up?
Yeah, she'd still be having a pretty good time.
Cowboy hat on and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Facing the other way.
Maybe. But then you'd see her reach for that IV tube again. She's got another dose of medicine for you. And this time the lights are going out for real. And she is probably holding your eyes open, staring directly into your eyes as you die.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What a nightmare, man.
That was the one, and during her time at the hospital, that was her modus operandi for sure. That was how she got down. That was her ideal scenario. That's terrifying, dude.
At first, leading up to the killing part, I was thinking, like, man, of all our subjects, like all the murderer subjects, that's one at least does like a painless way. Now you're like,
here's some
gazing into their final gaze.
Yeah, because
watches the breath release for the last time.
Yeah, the thing that got her juices flowing is killing, which is rare for a woman, but I'll be damned if that's not what she was into.
Classic lust killer.
Yep. Now, the only reason we know that is because one patient, Miss Amelia Finney, lived to tell the tale. This process was going on with her, but very suddenly somebody entered the room. And the next day when Miss Finney woke up, she was like, that was super weird.
Why is it stinking here?
I must have dreamed it.
Smells in here.
Yeah, well, Miss Amelia Finney dodging the Toppan bullet. Where, as far as we know, though, she is the only one to do that. She's the only intended victim that we know of that survived.
So that makes me think of something. 'Cause when you were describing all these murderers earlier, like a few moments ago, I had this thought, and then now that you're telling me that there was actually someone who survived these things, you got to think this elderly person that's like bedridden had to go through withdrawal from normally getting like ton of freaking morphine like daily.
No, I don't think after like one day you're gonna. I don't know if she was doing it all the time. I would know she did it once.
Oh, I thought she did it for like Monday through like Friday. Like you're getting.
I'm not
shit
sure
all
about
week.
that for sure. There's no way to know.
Just one night.
Well, if she's gonna kill you.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you like if somebody did that to you and then was like, "Okay, have a nice time." Don't you think you might mention your experience to the doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she was started off doing it like in a testing, like a crazy way, just giving everybody like whatever kind of medicine she fucking felt like and paying attention, watching people suffer from it.
Yeah.
But I think once she climbs into bed with you, you're toast. I don't think she ever plans for you to get away.
The worst part is like at the final goal of the act, the person's not even aware of it. Like is dead, and she's like perfect.
Yeah, that's what she likes about
selfish freaking murderer is what she is. She's a selfish lover.
Oh, you're thinking of an unselfish murderer?
She's a selfish lover, murderer, lust murderer. Unselfish lust murderers. We should rewind the show.
Another category, another categorization. I'm in.
A selfish lust killer known as Jane Toppan. Cut it. Have the team cut it back to the beginning. God damn it.
Well, now that we've got the categorizations straight, she was finding a similar pattern with how she got along with people. Most of the people thought she was okay, but a good chunk of people always saw through her. In this case, though, at Cambridge Hospital, she did earn the favor of a few doctors, which I'm told goes a long way around the hospital. So she was...
Is one of these doctors the one that discovered a serial killer nurse under his watch?
No, this isn't later? Any of them. Yeah.
Okay, this is later. Sorry. Jumped the gun, people. Sorry.
Well, the doctors recommended her, and she was able to go to the larger, more impressing Massachusetts General, where she also definitely committed a few murders. But things were a little bit more professional here, and they got wise to her bullshit pretty quick. She was well known for having a blatant disregard for what the doctor prescribed dosage-wise, which is a no-no. They don't like that.
See, here at this facility, Jane, we have something called clipboards. And on that clipboard is a little chart. We don't know how you did things back there, but we keep track of what the frick we do.
Yeah, we don't just eyeball more.
Drink, baby. I said frick. We don't just what?
Yeah, we don't just eyeball morphine dosages.
Yeah, it's not a pinch.
Mm-hmm.
Pinch a whatever the A1 was.
Yeah, so she got fired for that shit. And after this point on, she had to make a career for herself as a private nurse.
She moves.
Not really.
She stays there.
Yeah.
I thought she moved home or moved to...
Yeah, but we're talking... None of these places are far apart.
Okay.
Yeah. She was really successful as a private nurse. I mean, she was probably the most successful private nurse in Massachusetts, or at least she was mentioned in that context in the research that I saw.
Number one of the more successful home nurses / lust killers in Massachusetts. Female category.
And if you were in requirement of a home nurse and she was recklessly giving you opiates while telling you everything is completely fine, you'd be like...
Worth every penny.
Yeah, we're best nurse ever. I feel incredible.
She's like, I'll bring you bedpan. It's all good. This remote controller has no cord. PS4. Stay right there.
No, I will say that some of these families, even the ones that liked her, did note that she was pretty prone to the occasional petty theft, as well as she was still constantly lying her ass off at every turn. Not doing herself any favors in the job market there.
Don't touch the jewelry, Jane.
So 1895, we're talking now. She's 38 years old, and she switches methodology now that she's not in the hospital and doesn't quite have the same access to patients as she used to. She moves over to poison. This is sort of like going from the public sector to the private sector or some shit like that for a serial killer.
What kind of poison we talking?
Well, sometimes she would still use morphine to poison people. Sometimes she would use, like, whatever.
What was the last episode we released that involved poison?
Well, we could go back to Locusta.
What's the last episode we released? Think.
Not Jonestown.
That's pretty far back. There's something more recent.
Unit 731?
Pickman with his window washer fluid and a syringe.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to love this. This is going to make you feel awesome. Spanish fly.
Why is it bright neon blue?
Why is it stinking here like pig shit? God damn it. The prostitute's voice on the beginning of the episode. Yeah. He's a good guy and stuff. And...
Oh, it's so depressing. The things we do to our most vulnerable in this society are really tragic.
Like Norm Macdonald said one time on worst jobs and voted worst job, crack whore. It's like, yeah. That's pretty much.
Yep.
It's awful. You don't even do it for money. You just do it for crack. You don't even do it to eat. Like you just do more crack.
Yeah, you're maintaining your addiction and just hoping for the best on everything else, including food.
We went from the beginning of this episode. You were recommending that everyone do a quick speedball before listening, and now you're saying stay away from crack. So
I was clearly being facetious.
We've evolved in this last 30-40 minutes.
Yeah. Now, so 1 month, 1895, her 38th year, she doesn't have the money to cover rent. Now, she was a respectable nurse, but she was also a wild partier. Spent every evening well known for hammering down beers at the local public house.
And they weren't shit Budweiser. She's 100% Irish.
No, she would have denied that.
But she is.
Yeah.
It's in her blood. She has no say in the matter. She is drawn to Guinness.
It is like the most delectable of beers.
Yeah.
Of commercially available, like they probably
You
have
drink Guinness?
beers. Guinness. I don't drink any alcohol.
You eat Guinness?
I don't drink any alcohol, but
No.
Guinness was my like preferred regular beer.
Yeah.
Like if I was like, I'm gonna just have a regular beer, I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'd order a Guinness.
Yeah.
I was pretty restricted beer wise to basically either High Life or stouts and porters.
Oh, High Life's nice for a shit beer. Like a cheap beer. Oh, it's so good in the summer.
High Life and Pabst are acceptable of cheap beers to me.
I think Pabst's taste is a little more bolder than a High Life's more smoother.
Yeah, a little bit.
Easier.
I would go occasionally with the malt liquor as well. Like I would
St. Ides?
Steel Reserve generally.
Magnum? What are we talking? Old E?
Steel Reserve, you get 40s. Yeah, 40s.
I'm just naming 40s.
Mickey's.
I'm going down the list. Freaking
I
Camo.
was pretty goddamn. I was pretty loyal to Steel Reserve when I was 20.
yeah.
But yeah, so rather than pay rent, she preferred to spend that money on beer. She just decided to kill her elderly 77-year-old landlord, Israel Dunham.
She's like, come on down, take a nap at my place. Come on down.
Yeah, so she murdered his ass, and then she was like, you know what? Lovey Dunham, Israel's widow, so sad that he died. Why don't you let me just move in here, and I'll help to take care of you. I'm being so generous. Of course I'll be living here rent-free, right?
And her kid, right? Their child? The landlord's wife and child,
Nope,
no?
that's a couple sets of landlords down the line.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, real path of carnage this woman left behind. This is where it even maybe like kicks into high gear. So yeah, she does that, and then she poisoned Lovey 2 years later. Killed her ass too. 1899, she's about 42 now. She meets her sister Elizabeth at her vacation home in Cape Cod. She's been harboring a jealous rage for Elizabeth for basically her entire life, and seeing her married to like a rich, like successful, like eligible bachelor type dude was just too much for her, and she then decided to murder Elizabeth.
Her sister, freaking Jane.
She did it slow too. She did it over the course of a week, like stringing it out and being like so eager to help take care of her dear, dear sister Elizabeth, whom she was in the process of slowly torturing to death. Even worse than that, after she was dead, she comes out of the room, right? And she's like, Israel, I'm sorry, Elizabeth's dead. And by the way, she told me that her dying wish was for me to have like a bunch of her jewelry.
She comes out of the bedroom. She's like, Elizabeth's been killed.
Yeah, so that jewelry that she got from Elizabeth, that was her, quote unquote last wish to give it to Jane. After the arrest and everything, Elizabeth's widow found out that he tried to track down all the jewelry, and it had, of course, immediately been pawned.
We had a listener put H.H. Holmes on the list of Mount Rushmore of awful people because of how he just would screw people over.
These two might make an attractive couple, a handsome couple. So after that, she killed her friend Myra Connors just to steal her job. Yeah, lying to the dean at the school that Myra worked at. She was like, yeah, Myra took off. She went out of town on a sabbatical, and she told me how to do the job before she left and just sent me down here. So I'm just going to take over her job now. Don't worry about it.
It's a shame what happened. I don't know.
You're worrying about it. Don't worry too much about it.
She's doing the Appalachian Trail or something. Looking for pet bears. I don't know.
So after that, she's going to need some new landlords when she gets to a new place. And you better believe she poisoned them to the point of chronic sickness. Didn't murder them right away.
God.
And then their housekeeper, she poisoned her to make her appear drunk in order to steal her job, which she successfully did. Now, somehow Jane was able to maintain a vacation cottage too. The family who owned that and rented it to her, the wife, the matriarch of the family, by the name of Maddie Davis, came to collect rent that Jane owed, which, as you know, is extremely dangerous.
Uh-oh.
And she was first given a poison water to kind of like put her down, like make her sick.
Yeah, drink the whole bottle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like tipping up the bottom.
Hey, don't stop.
Yeah.
Go on now. Don't be shy. It's a hot day.
And this is the woman who was given a morphine overdose directly under the nose of a doctor who had actually caught a different female murderer who was using arsenic as her weapon.
This freaking doctor had 2 people in his staff that were serial killers. God dang. What are the odds?
Oh, no, I don't think either of those women were on his staff. Jane certainly wasn't. She was just the housekeeper there.
Oh.
And this woman was just coming to get her money. They called a doctor, and that doctor that came to help.
Well, that woman that killed the 8 people,
mm-hmm.
wasn't she known as an angel of death or something?
I don't know anything about that woman.
Oh, okay. I thought there was something in the notes about angel.
No, I just caught this tidbit.
Okay.
She then moved in with that family, the family of Maddie Davis, after she was dead. God, she's just like a virus or something. It's fucking crazy. So she moves in there to take care of Alden Davis after the tragic passing of his wife, and within the week tries to burn down their house.
She's like, I want to try something new.
How dare you ask me for money that I said I would give you before?
I'm going to flip the script. No more Mr. Freaking Syringe. Now you're getting flames.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, except they caught it and they put it out.
Awful arson. She's a freaking great poisoner. Awful arsonist.
Yeah. A few days later, she tried it again. But they caught it and put it out again.
Again, stay away from the arson and go back to the arsenic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially because the week after she tried it a third time and had it put out again.
It was like guy put it out with like a squirt gun. He's like, got it again, no problem, handled. No, some idiots trying to start fires. I know what they're doing. Yeah, it's covered. Got it.
Yeah, well, she took your advice because she then poisoned one of the 2 daughters that lived there, Genevieve.
I thought you were going to say, because she poisoned the firemen.
Well, she framed it as a suicide. Genevieve so distraught over her mother's death that she takes her own life.
Oh, yeah.
A month later, the old man, she takes him out. Alden Davis, poisoned, dead. The next month, she completes her clean sweep of the Davis family by poisoning the elder Davis daughter, Minnie.
All this killing and all this secret weird shit, and she never had anyone to tell what she was doing. Like this whole secret, crazy, amazing life of murder, and no one to share her like crazy secret, you know? Like some people, like the Unabomber had a manifesto. It's like, this is what's on my mind.
Yeah.
Like no one knew. She doesn't have writings.
Yeah, but she was just feeding her like base and monetary needs.
She's like, man, I wish I just had one other murderer I could share stories with in the cell.
Well, she might find her way to it eventually.
You're talking about a family. Oh, let me tell you about this one family. I got the whole family. Got one that made it look like she committed suicide. It was perfect.
That would eventually be her undoing, though. The Davis family, they weren't just gonna. They were like, yeah, something's fucked. Something's fucky here. Something's weird with this.
Yeah.
But that same month, after she finished cleaning up the Davis family, she went back home and tried to get with Elizabeth's widow. She even killed his sister because she felt like his sister was getting in the way of the 2 of them getting together. Yeah.
You better not have no siblings. She was quoted as saying.
Yeah.
Today ain't your day. And she's like, why? And she was like, because you got siblings. That was in Wikipedia.
Yeah, so she then poisoned him to make him sick and nurse him back to health. After that didn't work, she poisoned herself to try and gain sympathy from him.
Look, I'm sick too, okay?
Yeah, after he sniffed that shit out, though, he finally gave her the boot, kicked her out. They never got together. She was denied it. Her one way, her jealousy over Elizabeth couldn't be rectified.
And to this day, she still walks the streets. The end.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just kidding.
Minnie Gordon Nay Davis's father-in-law, however, was the one who thought something might be fucky and had all the bodies exhumed.
They're all filled with freaking morphine.
Yeah, like literally, it's
solid
like bursting
morphine.
out.
Yeah.
Well, they actually found arsenic, but it turns out that arsenic was used to embalm them. So the prosecution was stymied for a little while. And initially, she did plead not guilty when she was arrested because they were like, oh, there's poison. So arrest her because fucking obviously. Who else would it be?
Yeah.
And then once they start, following around, looking into her, they're like, oh, shit. Like, this might be a fucking thing. So they arrest her ass.
Yeah.
But because of the whole arsenic thing with the autopsies, that threw everything out of whack. And she pled not guilty. And she was maybe thinking she was going to walk away from this.
Yeah.
But eventually, when she was under questioning by psychiatrists, she admitted it. She was like, yeah, I killed 31 people, but the number possibly could be as high as 100. So heavy hitter for sure.
Wow.
And she did all this to gain the sexual thrill from the act of killing someone.
Dinner in Hell salutes American women.
Anybody feel like revising their Rushmore yet? Probably not. We'll see.
Or remember we did the jobs list of all the jobs we mentioned on our show that sucked?
Yeah. Toppin's landlord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, after that admission, she was sent to Taunton Insane Hospital for life, where she was initially very excited about it because she assumed that she'd be able to talk her way out of there within a couple of months.
Swap stories.
Yeah. She'd be like, convince everyone that she got better. I was ready to go home. But that...
I'm cured.
That didn't happen.
If you went to, let's say you plead insane or whatever, and then you get sentenced to an insane asylum place like that.
Yeah.
And then you get better. Do you get to go out and be a citizen again, or do you go to like regular prison?
It depends.
Yeah.
If you're like a high profile one, yeah, you're done. But do you remember reading about in Canada, I think it was in Toronto, when that guy like pulled out a knife and decapitated another bus passenger? Yeah, that guy is free and walking around Canada right now.
What?
Yeah. He had schizophrenia. They treated his schizophrenia, and he is a free man. He is out of the hospital.
As long as he's on his meds, we're good.
Yeah, that's the deal.
As soon as they go
Even
off
though I do
meds.
feel the need to reiterate here that most schizophrenic people are not violent in any way or a danger to you.
Right. This is a bad one. But there's bad normal people too.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying you're not normal. You're not the norm.
Yeah, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
See, initially, when Jane was in the ward, she was terrified that their food would be poisoned. So she wouldn't eat any of it.
She's like, I'm down to about 160. I'm trim.
Near her fighting weight. But eventually she came down, became a model inmate / patient, and lived away the decades, dying in 1938 at 80 or maybe 81 years old. Jane Toppan finally checked out. A total monster.
That's right. A murdering, lust-filled, freaking nurse that went behind, outside the lines of, I don't know.
Well, if you're lustful for more serial killer episodes of this program, you can drop us a line on Twitter at Dinner and Hell Pod.
Yeah, who do you want
Yeah,
next.
which serial killer you want next? I mean, I can think of fucking a dozen possibilities off the top of my head, but who's your favorite? Have we not covered them yet?
Brad and I discussed busting out serial killers every one a month. So
Yeah, there's so many.
yeah, we can
Sort
go
of
on
put
and
it,
on.
make sure it's in regular rotation. Yeah, there's so many we haven't talked about. Who's your favorite? You can hit us up on Twitter. Tell us that. You can fucking rate us and subscribe us on iTunes. That'd be dope. We're on Stitcher. We're on SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. We're everywhere.
Forever on YouTube.
I've been kicking around the idea of making an Instagram account, but I might do that one day.
Yeah.
But you keep looking on there every day, and one day one might pop up.
We may tweet about it if it does. That may happen.
Can you believe this audience today?
And this band is incredible.
Love being here in the Dinner in Hell studios. Feels like home. Thanks so much for being a great co-host tonight. It's been a blast.
Same back to you.
Thanks to our listeners at home. I love you and good night.